Hi everyone, welcome to JavaScript coding challenge. In today's video, you have to find the below code output and you have 4 options to select from. The question is, you have 3 set timeout statements and in the 3 set timeout we are printing, there is a console.log to be printed and the timer in the first 2 statements are a string value and the third one is a number of 1 millisecond. And the 4 options are, the first option, it will be a type error and timeout cannot be of type string. And the second option is string 1, string 2 and number. Third option is only number will be printed and string values will not be printed. And the fourth option is string 2, string 1 and number. So please try from your end and see what is the output you are getting. So let's try from our end and see what is the output we are getting. I have this particular script available in test.js file which has been referenced from the index.html as you can see here. So let me run this and make sure that everything is running fine. Okay. Now everything is running fine. So let me hide this file explorer and you have let me open the console. So before opening the console, let's see what is set timeout. Okay. So set timeout is a global method, okay, that is available as a web API. Okay, it's a global method and what it does is it sets a timer which executes a function or a piece of code once the timer expires. Okay, and this is mainly used for asynchronous function, means that it will not be like set timeout. Okay, so this is not synchronous. The remaining piece of code, like if I say I have a console.log of start, okay, here it is starting, and we have console.log of end. Okay, so it does not wait for this particular milliseconds, whatever is set in the timer. It does not wait for that. It just prints console.log of start, console.log of end, and then it will be actually putting that as a macro task, okay, or a callback function. It will be in the callback queue. As soon as our code gets executed, the callback queue, whatever is available in the callback queue, that gets executed. Okay, so this is available in the macro task. We have micro task as well, like promises and all. So for this particular example, it is an asynchronous function, means that all the code execution will be happening and this will be actually moved into the callback queue. Whatever is available in the set timeout, that will be a part of the callback queue once our code execution completes, and it will be then it will be actually moved to the call stack, all whatever is available in the callback. So it's an asynchronous function, it's not a synchronous function. But first start will be printed and then end will be printed and then set timeout will be taken care of, okay, as per this particular example. And we have actually string values in our question, right? So for non-number delay values, okay, for non-number timer values, they are silently coerced into numbers, so they will be converted to number. Okay, so in our question we have a string of 1000, right? So this 1000 will be converted to a number. Okay, so now this will be converted, it will try to convert that into a number, and if it is possible then it will be actually coerced into 1000, so it will be equal to 1000. But 1 second, as you can see, this is a string value, but when it is trying to convert that to a number, it would not be possible, and hence it will be treated as 0. Okay, so that's what you have to remember. For set timeout, for non-number delay values, they are silently coerced into numbers. So we can see that in action. So let me print the console for your reference. Okay, so let me refresh this. Okay, so now you can see here console.log of start is printed. Okay, and all these functions, okay, it's getting to string 2. So end is also printed, so it didn't wait. So this is what I mentioned, this is an asynchronous function, so it didn't wait for the all the set timeout to happen and then console.log of end will be printed. It is not that case. In JavaScript, all the code execution will happen, then only callback queue will be considered. And now if I press next, so then you can see that string 2, string 1 and number is printed. The order is because string 2 gets printed first, because this 1 second will be treated as 0. Okay, for any non-number value, it will try to convert that into number. Silently it will try to convert that into number. If it is not possible, in that case it will be defaulted to 0. So this one is actually 0. So this will be the first one that is going into the callback queue, and after the code execution, this is the first line of code that is gets printed, and this 1000 will actually be converted into 1000. So this is the next set timeout statement that will go to the callback queue. So this is that string 1000 is converted into number, and string 1 gets printed, and then finally number, which is also having 1000, that gets printed. And then this, in this particular question, the output would be string 2, string 1, and number. So just a recap. So set timeout is a global method. Okay, it's a global method, and it sets what is the functionality of set timeout. It sets a timer which executes a function or a piece of code once the timer expires. Okay, and it is an asynchronous function because it is the code will be actually pushed into the callback queue. So once the call stack is empty, then only the callback queue codes gets executed. So that's why it's called an asynchronous function, and this comes under a macro task. Okay, so that means that it will be pushed into the callback queue, and then an event loop will be happening, and event loop will be checking whether there are any elements code is to be executed in the macro task. So we have micro task as well. We will be covering that in a later video. And for non-number delay, non-number timer values, it silently coerced into number. It will try to convert that into a number, and if it is not possible, it will be defaulted to 0. So that's all about this particular video. I hope you got an idea about set timeout and the timer, different types of timer. Okay, so that's it for today's video. Thanks a lot for watching.